perfecto. Where do fish keep their money? In a riverbank. Right, I'm going to sit off to the left.
Yeah, mate, it's cool. Look at a
So
fuzzy
you
thing.
can see, you don't have to worry about looking at sort of the camera. You can just sort of look at me and that'll capture it, and then go from there really. Right, so white brainy bunch, sort of like. Do you want to talk to me about how it came about, or do you want to talk about your diagnosis first? Or
Yeah, all right. Okay, so right back to the start then. Holiday Tenerife, 2014. Having a few beers, watching football on the screen, and my eyes kind of just went a bit funny, cross-eyed almost, but they weren't physically crossed. I just thought it was a bit of sun, bit of heat stroke, a few beers, just ignored it, no problem. And it happened again probably 2 months later. Again, just didn't take any notice of it. And I think it was the third time it happened in December. And Kat asked if I was alright when I was going dizzy. And I couldn't talk to her. I tried, and I just couldn't talk. It didn't come out. As much as I tried, nothing came out. And after about 60, 90 seconds, it just went back to normal. So it didn't seem too much of a problem, but she sent me to the doctors anyway. I was spoken to. Yeah, she said to me, oh, no worries too much. Take it away, go away for the rest of the month, and if it happens again, come back in December. So I got home, and I think it was that day, it happened again. And then again before the end of December. So I went back to see her again, as she said, and then luckily she referred me straight through to Newport to a neuro guy. Had a few chats with him. He sent me off for a few different tests. He wanted me to have an EEG, test for epilepsy, a 24-hour ECG, and a CAT scan. So I had the CAT scan. Actually ended up being on my birthday, the CAT scan, 24th February. Went home, no problem, and then you get that call like 2 days later. Can we have a chat with you about your scan? So you already get a bit, that ain't right. Went back in to see him, something on the scan. You got your brain. It's very difficult to explain if you haven't seen one. And on the scan, there's this little white dot. And he said to me and Kat, that there's your tumour. All that grey around there, that's swelling. Take these steroids. We'll refer you over to Southampton. We'll go from there. So that's what I did. Took steroids. Not the nicest drug in the world. Doesn't play very well with people. I got all sorts of side effects that were horrible. So anyway, moving on. Went over to Southampton to see the specialist, Mr. Grundy. Had another MRI scan over there. Sat down with him. He said, right, there's that little white dot you're talking about. He said, that's calcium. So that kind of means it's a slow-growing tumour. It builds up calcium over time. He said, all that grey around there, he said, that's not swelling at all. That's actually your tumour. So it was quite a big-sized tumour in the end, as opposed to this little tiny dot. So that was that. And then, you walk out of there and your world just falls to bits. We walked back to the car in total shock, and then we just sat there and cried for ages. And you kind of get a roller coaster then of emotions. Is that the end of it? Am I going to die? The kids are young. Harry's very small. But it is what it is. You get put in the system. You get diagnosed. You get given drugs to take. He said straight away, stop driving. Because what I was having, these funny turns, were classed as a seizure. It wasn't just a funny turn on dizziness. It was actually an epileptic seizure as such. So stop driving. That was the worst thing for Kat, having to drive back from the hospital to the boat on the mainland. So moving on from there, I was told I'd have to have surgery, that my surgery would be done while I'm awake, so I can talk to the doctor and surgeons while I'm having it. And they test your brain when you're in surgery, because they cut bits of the tumour, and they test your brain. It's almost like a cattle prod. They test it. If it doesn't do anything to your speech or your motor skills, cut it out. Test a bit more, cut it out. And until it has an effect, So if they test it, and what it did is it stopped me from talking. I'd have to count from 1 to 20, and then you get to whatever it is, and they test it, nothing comes out. Or your hand will twitch, so it gets left in. 4 hours later, surgery's over. I've been talking to my surgeon and anaesthetist all the way through. Quite bizarre, but quite interesting as well. And then I recovered quite well. I was home within 24 hours. Running within 3 weeks. Now I know what brain tumours are like, and seeing some of the people we deal with through our charity, I think I was quite fortunate. My recovery and my symptoms and outcome are pretty good. in the scheme of things. So yeah, back to running, back to work within 12 weeks, and then within 12 months I was back operational on shouts again. And that's where I got to after the first year. Anything else you want me to go?
That's perfect.
Oh,
That's really good. We even had a chorus of seagulls at the same time.
oh no, it's cool. And a cat.
I thought, I wonder if I stop him and start screaming at the seagulls, see if they do anything. That's cool. That's really good. So, what made you come up with the idea of, what was your knowledge of brain tumours prior to getting that?
Nothing. No knowledge at all. I hadn't really heard of brain tumours particularly, but it's like buying a red car. Everyone's got a red car. Every time you listen to the news or watch soaps on TV, there's a brain tumour story. You know, children in need, the brain tumour story. Everything was brain tumour stories. It was everywhere, it seemed. We were almost left in the dark. We had no help, no support. You know, when you leave hospital after surgery, the nurse specialists say, if you get any problems or if you get any weeping from your wound, don't go to St Mary's. Come straight back to us. And we're like, we're on the Isle of Wight, you can't just drive down the road hospital. But as it was, nothing happened to me, so I didn't have to go back. So, Kat, being a runner myself, Kat always said to me, if you come through your surgery, I'll do a run for you. So that's it. Through surgery, we're doing a run. So signed up for the Great South Run in October. Did a Just Giving page for the Brain Tumour charity. £1,000 for piece of cake, £1,000 in 6-7 months, where it was. 4 days go by, £1,000 done. So she carried on. Come October, 10 grand in the pot. You get this sort of addiction to making money for people. It's a feeling that you can't really explain. And at that point, we're in the media a lot. We always are now. People know about me being a firefighter, having a brain tumour. It was national, even international. People were donating from America, Australia, didn't even know us. So people were coming to us because we're known almost, saying, "How did you get on with this? How did you deal with it?" Looking for support. So that's where it kind of started, really. A friend of ours, Julie, she said to us at Christmas dinner, "Have you thought about doing a support group?" Hadn't done, didn't even cross her mind. So we give it a go. We quite expected me and Kat to sit at the support group with Julie, have a cup of tea, bit of cake for an hour, and no one come in. First one, opened the doors, and people kept coming through the door. We thought, this is needed, And then the next month, people come back through the door again, and more people, and it's just grown and grown and grown to what it is now. It's an essential service on the island now. People rely on it. So yeah, it started from a little £1,000 sponsored run to something now which is tens of hundreds of £1,000s that we made now in 4 years. It's snowballed. It's massive.
That's amazing. What's the dream? If I could say, what's your vision? What would be the vision for the charity?
Obviously, the charity can only get so big because we are an Isle of Wight charity. We give money to the Brain Tumour charity for the research side of it, and we give money to the Wessex Neurological Centre where I was treated, because Isle of Wight people are treated there. So all the money we make is spent on island, island residents, island services. But yeah, the vision is to be able to support all the people that go through the hospitals with brain tumours. There are so many. There are loads we don't know about. The people that we and Kat deal with, I think, is just a small proportion of the patients that are actually on the island. We're known by the hospitals, and we get referred by the hospitals, St Mary's and Southampton, GP surgeries. All sorts of people are referring to us now, so that's a good step already. We managed to get diagnosis cards into the red baby books at birth, so that's a massive thing for the island. Around the country, that doesn't happen everywhere. So it's, but to be more visual and everyone know your name, if you've got a brain tumour or you know someone's got a brain tumour, oh, White Brainy Bunch, they're the people you want to go to. Like I say, it can only get so big, but it would be great to be able to get grants from businesses, other companies around the country, to be able to pay someone like Kat to do it full time, because she sits here now from the end of her proper job until 1-2 in the morning, all weekend, emailing people, answering their questions, supporting them, referring them to here, there and everywhere. I think that's, for us personally, is where we'd like the charity to go, to be bigger and almost employ Kat to do it. We'll see how it goes, but as it is in a minute, we do what we've got to do in our own time.
So aside from the charity, how has she supported you through your journey?
Mate, without Kat, I don't really know what happened. You know, after surgery, she did everything. You know, she fed me, she bathed me, she gave me drugs, she did the kids, she did the shopping, she did the driving, everything. You know, and I couldn't do it without her. She's been everything. And she really is the chap, you know, it's not me, I'm just the reason for it. You know, she is the White Brainy Bunch, she is the person who does everything. And not for me now, well it's still for me, but for everybody else, you know. People phone her and text her 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and she replies. You know, people say they don't get that sort of personal contact from other charities. You know, when people are there, on the phone, whenever you want them, going for a cup of coffee and a cake on their days off, just to support people. You know, she is amazing, really, what she does, and I don't know how she does it. She puts up with me. You know, some of the stupid things that I do now since my surgery that wind the hell out of her. But she puts up with it. I don't know how or why sometimes. She's amazing.
So where would you say your worry level is? I know that's a weird question. It's sort of like where you are on your journey. Where would you say you are with it? And what are your hurdles and what are you worried about?
Mate, well, that's a difficult question.
It is.
You know, I had my surgery, and like I said before, I recovered well. I was running. I went back to work. I was living a normal life. And to everyone on the outside looking in, you know, that's Mark Grimes. He had a brain tumour. He's recovered. He's fine now. But that ain't the case. You know, every day. You know, and the further you get past from surgery, when you were given the okay, you know, every scan you worry. Every year, you know, I've got to the point now where I don't like being alone. You know, I don't like going to work, going to the shops. You know, because I have seizures, it's the worst thing ever. You know, I ride up to Tesco on my old bike and I'm looking for bits of grass or hedges if I have a seizure, just to crash the bike and get behind a hedge. Worst thing I could do, put myself alone. But I don't want it to happen. You know, if I go to the shop on my own, I walk around the shop and I'm just thinking, what if? What if it happens now? If I go shopping with Kat, I've not got a worry in the world. Nothing at all. At home, I'd rather not be on my own anywhere. So that's a big thing, and I kind of struggle with that. But my answer to that is just be with Kat. There's certain people at work who I know I can trust and be with. But yeah, worries now going forward. Every year the scan comes back as satisfactory, which I think is great. The further you get past those scans, because I know at some point it's coming back. I've always known that it's got to happen somewhere. You know, I've had me 1, 2, 3 year scans. They've all been fine. The chances are that sooner or later that scan's going to have some sort of regrowth on it. It might be 1 year. It might have been 10 years. That's just a psychological thing, and I think most brain tumour patients go through the same thoughts. And then you get to your 4th year scan. You know, and my results have always been over the phone. You know, I get a call from the nurse specialist or the secretary and say, "I'll be phoning next week, Mr. Grimes, with your results." You think, that's good, I know that's good. When you get the phone call from your nurse specialist saying, "Can you come and see Mr. Grundy next week on Tuesday, we'll have a chat with you about your results," you instantly know it's bad. Instantly know. And that was before the marathon this year. I had that call. You know, so I kept my mouth shut. I didn't tell anybody outside of our little family unit here, because my parents would try and stop me running the marathon. You know, your closest friends and family. Do you know what you think it's a good idea? Stuff you, I'm running the marathon. You know, and then I went in for meeting a few days after the marathon, and you get that news again. It's grown. It's time to do something. You know, and then all those emotions. You know, coming back from hospital that day, we sat at a bus stop, and I was so angry. If anybody said anything to me, they would have got knocked out. I was so angry, and scared, and upset, and you know, it's difficult. You know, you've got the boys as well. It's the thoughts that go through your head is, you know, what if? You know, I've got to go through it again. You know, you've got the boys; they're in school still. You can't begin to imagine the thoughts. We probably can. You know, is this it? You know, am I going to be good through surgery again? The risks are high for my surgery. I could come out after having a stroke. I could be debilitated. I could have paralysis. I could be totally reliant on people. I could have memory loss. It's a whole raft of things. But that's the life I have to live now. You know, I go year on year, week on week, day on day now. Yeah, my hurdles really, I think it's just getting over the worry, getting through the surgery, and getting back to health again. You know, looking after the boys, letting them grow up, seeing them at school. I always had a few targets. It was my 40th birthday, which is 2 years' time, and you think that as well. Will I get to that target? Well, I will. And then it's wedding anniversaries, birthdays, you know, every year. We've got 10-year wedding anniversary going. We're going to the Maldives. That was always our plan. Will I do it? Don't know. I don't know now. I still don't know. I like to think I will, but what happens? You know, surgery. Do I come out of it fine? Do I not come out of it? You know, does the tumour behave itself for a bit longer? Do I get another 4 years to, you know, chemotherapy later this year? Is it going to be successful? Will it not? I just don't know, and no one can give that answer. And the charity that's massive now, you know, as the founder of the charity, we can't benefit from it financially, but the contacts that Kat's built up, you know, the nurses that we deal with, the counsellors, the physios, all those sorts of things, I can use them, but I can't be funded by it. So that side of it, I now get the support again. You know, the charity was because of me originally, and it's kind of gone away from me over the last few years because it's been about the new patients, the new people coming and see us. But now I'm right back in the middle of it again. It's about me, you know, and I'm living it again. It's just you've got to deal with it.
What is life like living with all of that knowledge that you described?
It's hard. You know, you try to be big and brave, and you know, you go to work and you have chats on groups, and you try and make a joke of it as if it's not a big problem. But no one really knows. I don't think Kat really knows the extent of it. It is hard. But knowledge isn't always good in this charity. You know, it's not a particularly nice charity to have formed. You know, because more often than not, we meet these people, and sometimes we lose them. You know, we never thought about it. To be honest, we set up this charity. We thought we'd help people, we'd support them, give them some advice. Not ever did it cross my mind that someone might pass away from it. You know, and then the first guy did, and it was like, wow, this is real. You know, and then we had a really bad year last year, and we lost a lot of people for the charity. And you make friends with people, you support them, you see them a lot. They come to see us, and you have Christmas dinners, and they send you cards. It's personal, and it's a small charity, so we do know them all individually. But then you see them deteriorate. You know, someone new comes through the door, young or old, fit and healthy, whichever, and they go downhill, and then they die. It's crap, but it's reality, and I'm one of those people. You know, will it get me that bad? Will I go downhill that quickly? You know, because that person that came through the door last week, he was fit and healthy, or last month, and now he's in the hospice, or he's on his last weeks and days, and that could be me again at some point, and that's a worry, and that scares me a lot. I get scared of a lot of things, but yeah, knowledge isn't good, really.
I don't think anyone can put themselves or begin to understand or put themselves into your shoes, or they can have an understanding, true understanding of sort of what you and Kat and your family are going through. And I think you can't get that understanding unless you've gone through it yourself. I think it's very difficult to understand that from the outside. I mean, we lose people in this world, and it affects us deeply. But I can't get my head around the fact that, you know, we don't hear of brain tumours, or we didn't used to hear of brain tumours that often.
No.
You know, we would hear about breast cancer, we would hear about all the other cancers that are, you know, and everyone is as equally as important, I understand that. But there was never really this common knowledge. It was never really spoke about. Brain tumours was never really discussed.
No.
And I find that really hard to understand. That, you know, looking at the numbers now and looking at how many people this affects and how many islands this affects, you know. So if we were to look at just our area, the number's massive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's thousands.
The number's massive.
Yeah, brain tumours kill more young people under the age of 40 than other cancer. More than breast cancer, testicular cancer, lung cancer. It kills more than anybody. But there's no money in it, there's no funding in it. Brain tumour is such a massive thing, and there's so many different types of brain tumours. And of those different types of brain tumours, there's different strains of it, different grades of it. There's 120 different brain tumours, but there's actually thousands of different forms and types of it. So that they can't fund enough to test all those different brain tumours. They kind of focus on the highest grade. But yeah, because the funding's not there, you don't hear of it quite so much. It's not in the public domain, you know, it's not being spoke about all the time. Although, every time I open the paper now, or we open our doors, there's another brain tumour patient. It's everywhere, and I think some of my family and colleagues see that as well now.
If the Brainy Bunch was set up by someone else, and there was that network for you to go to when you had your diagnosis, how do you think it would have been different? And on that question, what I'm looking for, where I'm angling at, is that everything you've described to me was basically you and Kat and your family had to pioneer this on your own. So you had to go through having nothing, you know, this is your diagnosis, see you later. Off you go to Southampton. So you know, and you, because of what you've had to go through, you've basically created this. So if this was already existing, how would that have affected you, do you think?
I think it would have been really helpful. You know, you hit the internet after diagnosis, which is the worst thing. And everyone says don't go on Google, but everyone does. And all you find on Google and Facebook groups and chat groups is people that want the support. You know, and all you get really is people going through it, and they've got surgery coming up and they're asking for advice because they're going through it themselves. You don't get the people who have been lucky enough to carry on with their life, get back to work, because they're off, they're doing things, they've got on with their life. They're not moping, it's the wrong word to use. They're not sat around pondering and thinking about their future. They're getting on with it. The advice that Kat gives out to people is the sort of advice that I needed. You know, there's people that do all the same little things like I do. You know, people have little bits of memory loss and they forget to do things like turning lights off, turning taps off, shutting cupboards. That's actually quite normal, but I didn't know that. You know, and nor did Kat, and it's frustrating for the partners and wives, because they're the ones that got to deal with it. You know, people like me, I'm just in the system. I'm the one that makes the mistakes, but it doesn't affect me. But if I knew then that that's normal and this is how it's going to happen, you know, well, your surgery is going to be like this. You get told by your surgeon that we're going to do the surgery, you're going to be awake. It's a bit of a shock, but when you speak to people, actually it's quite normal. It's a lot safer than not being awake for my type of surgery. It'd be helpful, really would be great. Places to go, you know, we never had to worry about benefits or counselling at that time or now, but to be signposted to these people, you know, to benefit people. Macmillan Cancer, specialists on the island, you know, would make a big difference to people, and I'm pleased that we've set up this charity that we run, and we can help those people now, because they get referred to us from Southampton, and they give us a call, and they can get the answers, and they can meet us, me, other brain tumour patients, and see that it's not always the end of the world. You know, it is, like you say, you get that diagnosis and you think, that's it, the world's over, I'm not going to live any longer than I want to, I won't see my kids grow up, go to school, get married. I won't have any grandchildren. In actual fact, quite often, not quite often, but sometimes people live many, many years with a brain tumour. We've met people that have brain tumours when they're 30, and some of them are like 60, 70 years old now. But even now, being diagnosed again, going in for surgery, you still think that's the end of the world. You go through all those thoughts again, but yeah, if there was a charity like the White Brainy Bunch or similar on the island offering that support, it would have made a massive difference to us, which is quite nice knowing that we're doing that for other people. You get a lot of pleasure from it, for the wrong reasons.